They're calling it the Xbox shakeup. Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond are out for Microsoft, even though there were rumors responded last year about Phil Spencer has no plans on retiring anytime soon.
Did Microsoft just hand the controller to Player 2? Or did Satya Nadella, chairman of Microsoft, rage quit and reset the whole thing?
On tonight's episode of the Loading Screen Lounge, we discuss this and more. I'm your host, Matilda. I'm here with Beer Ninja and Sir Bigness. So let's get back into this. So, as we all know by now, the big news coming out on Friday was the announcement of Phil retiring after 38 years of Xbox, effective at the end of the day tomorrow. And even the bigger shocking news was everybody thought Sarah Bond was going to be the heir apparent. She's also been ousted as well. Well, does she leave on her own, or is she being ousted with a major shakeup at Xbox Gaming?
I think it was a clean house. I think both of them. I think this was a termination. I work in the corporate world, as do you, Matilda. As have you, Ninja, and nobody with that level of tenure, especially nobody that was literally the genesis of the company, been there since the beginning. Nobody leaves, announces their retirement on a Friday, and they're gone the next Monday. People in my company, when they get ready to leave, they announce it months in advance. So what I think this was is I think this was a gentleman's way of getting rid of Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond. You had to go too. What do you think, Ninja?
Now that we're going to be out and everything, we got the new. Let's see, she's the former VP of Product and Engineering at Meta and the former Instacart COO, who's also the board member of Home Depot. Asha Sharma will be taking place of Phil Spencer, and Matt Booty, the gentleman who's been the Microsoft's gaming executive vice president of Xbox Game Studios, he'll be promoted to chief, COO, and he's going to work closely with Sharma as well. So I think, as far as how this turn of events happened, it may have been coming for all we know, and it could be open for interpretation too on how you want to play out. Now we all know that Xbox, has done a wonderful, tremendous job, especially over the years. Phil's done a lot of work and everything, but we can all feel that shift happening. We can all feel that change happening, and something was gonna happen either way, one way or another. Either he was let go or asked to leave, or he decided to do it on his own cognizance. But I think more is going to really unfold, especially with there was one quote that I read that Asha Sharma said that I really hope she sticks out on, because that's what's going to make or break this whole deal. And she says, and I quote, she's committed the return of Xbox games in new categories and markets where we can add real value, grounded in what players care about the most. She says that games will always be art crafted by humans, while promising not to flood our ecosystem with soulless AI slop. And as we all know, Asha Sharma does come from an AI background, a heavy AI background. So I'll be pretty interested in to see where this goes with Xbox. I'm still going to try to be, positive about it and everything, because I still think they're going to be around for a long time. It's just going to be there's going to be a new wave of gaming that I think that's going to be happening here.
What do you think, Matilda?
I think it goes back to kind of in the last couple years, how many flops has Xbox had, if you come to think about it. You had that vampire, Redfall?
Redfall.
Redfall, yep.
That was a big bomb. What was there was a couple other titles that are not coming to me right away, but over the last couple of years, Xbox has been kind of like lagging. And with the quality of games compared to even like PlayStation has come out with, I just think it was just a snowball effect. Title after title not performing like they expected or should have is finally taking its toll, especially with the amount of money they invested in buying up all these studios. I mean, they bought up Blizzard and Activision and Candy Crush and just all the different titles they own. I think I saw a number. It's like 80 different companies are under the Microsoft umbrella in terms of gaming. And Matt Booty, who is taken over as the chief content officer. I guess now all of those
Yeah.
fall under his purview, so now he's in charge of all of those. So, I mean, also being the 25th anniversary of Xbox, maybe this shakeup was warranted. The debate could be about Phil Spencer retiring. And supposedly, the CEO said that he announced his retirement back in the fall, but they wanted to keep him on until a suitable replacement was found and put in place. So, how much do you guys buy of that?
Honest to goodness, I don't. I think you hit on one of the key linchpins of where this went. Or actually, I think you really hit on the two major ones, Brent, Matilda. When you talk about Microsoft as a company, not just Xbox. Xbox is a medium-sized fish in a very big pond in terms of the things that Microsoft is doing. I think that $70 billion that they spent before you talk about legal fees, because the acquisition of Activision Blizzard was $70 billion, the price tag. You had to go through legal actions in virtually every Western nation to get this thing over the finish line. They finally did, and what has it brought us? The Call of Duty game that just came out, Black Ops 7, was the worst selling and worst rated Call of Duty game in quite some time. The acquisition of all these studios, and you think about it from a business perspective. If you're a company, and you'll have to excuse me, this is going to take a second to get all this out. If you're a company and your idea or your whole goal is to make money, so when somebody comes along and buys your company, you've met your goal. You've made as much money as you can. So what they're expecting out of these studios that they've acquired, Activision, Blizzard, Bethesda on some levels, you're basically asking people to put forth the same amount of effort the day after they won the lottery. They got all their money. So now you're expecting them to come in and still produce great product. It's going to take a while to make that adjustment. And to be honest with you, maybe the studio acquisitions weren't a very good idea.
You mentioned about the Call of Duty being the worst selling. Is that just on Xbox, or is that across all platforms?
I believe it's across all platforms. Even if it wasn't, even if it had been a good game, you still have the business model of, well, this is on Game Pass. And those things don't necessarily count as sales. That's not new money that you're bringing in. And you couple that, you notice that the price increase in Game Pass from $10 to $30 happened after the Activision Blizzard merger or acquisition. So they're trying to pay for that with what they're charging the gamers in terms of that $30 a month basis. And the whole idea behind Game Pass is you have access to all these great games. How great are they?
I noticed since they changed the pricing, I ended up dropping my tier down, and I noticed the games that are available to me on Game Pass have significantly dropped.
Mm-hmm.
So even people who are not paying for the top tier are not getting access to the AAA titles right now.
So I want to throw a little positivity about this change here real quick. Maybe more of an idea. So with Asha Sharma coming on board, especially from an AI background and everything, and I know that some of us have mixed feelings about AI. There is a place for it, I believe, in this world. I truly do. Now, in the past, we have discussed about, especially with Xbox and everything, and not just Xbox, it could be any of the other developers for all that, except for maybe Nintendo. But we've talked about games that are incomplete, right? Games they push out, whether it's digital or physical or whatever the case may be. Will AI actually play a part in filling in that void that we've been desperately needing to have again? You know, because back in the Xbox 360 days, what could you do? You put the disc in, it's ready to play, unless you got a game that needs an installation disc, of course, and everything. I'm really hoping that AI and what they can put in there to help fill in the blanks right there to help push out the games, because we are on the precipice of a digital world. We are there already, and it's only going to get bigger from here. Now, I am a physical content collector, and I will continue to be that as long as they keep pushing them out. And so with that being said and everything, hoping that AI will actually step in and help fill in the blanks right there, so that Phil Spencer blanks, and go ahead and see if we can actually get some completed games out, and not just getting completed games out. Let's also talk about games that are being held back, right? Held back for so many years and everything. Maybe we can actually get deadlines met without having to extend and everything. So I'm going to look at it as a little bit of positivity on that side right there, as far as what this team can bring. Because even though she has no background, as far as I know, for gaming, but you got Matt Booty right there, which has been a powerhouse to Xbox for many years. That man has made his own name and solidified himself in Microsoft, in Xbox. So I think with them two working close together and everything, it's either going to be a good thing or a bad thing. It's a love hate, I guess. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, this is a pretty big deal. This is a pretty big deal in gaming history and everything. Phil Spencer, he brought a lot of content, a lot of games out for Xbox. I think he's done a wonderful job, especially over the years, especially around the 360 era and everything, in my opinion. And as we know, Xbox has been going through quite a bit with laying off people and everything, buying out all of these other IPs and whatnot. Um, and I really hope that there's a place in this world for the people that lost their jobs and everything, that may be able to take part in this in some way, shape, or form. Who knows? Like I said, I'm being optimistic about it and everything, but only time is going to tell as far as what Asha Sharma and Matt Booty are going to bring to the table for Xbox.
You brought up about like the positivity of it. Maybe some of the games that have been put on the back burner get brought back up to the front. Maybe a reset like this might be the spark needed to get Elder Scrolls 6 and a better quality Fallout game versus Fallout 76. I know Sir Bigness doesn't like Fallout 76. My two kids love it. One of them plays it all the time if he's not playing the first few versions of it. But maybe this fresh set of people on in charge now might reinvigorate the gaming over at Xbox. If they're putting stuff on the back burner, I mean, we've been waiting on Elder Scrolls 6 basically since Skyrim came out.
Yeah.
And it's still, we don't even have a trailer or any announcements or anything going on with that. I mean, we get more updates for Elder Scrolls Online than we do any announcements of what Elder Scrolls 6 is coming along to be. So maybe this will help maybe get some of these publishers back to the basics of what made them great and focus on putting out better content versus just putting out content because we can just put out content every 6 months. So I do agree with that it could be a positive. Maybe a lot of times when you do have a big shakeup at the top like that in a lot of industries, you do see a bounce. Now the question is how long can they ride that momentum? I mean, in the sporting world, let's just take soccer for example. Over in Europe, when they fire a manager, usually the first 5 games, the team bounces and wins 2 or 3 of those 5 games and draws 1 game and then loses one. So you can see a quick instant turnaround. The hard part is to carry that momentum after see how well the two of them can carry that momentum after the first 2 years. And going back, like you were talking about AI and stuff and how AI could help develop some of these games. I think there's a untapped, not necessarily in terms of AI developing games, but AI being incorporated to games. So now instead of like when you're playing a game and you go up to an NPC and they talk to you and you got to go through and select your answer, if you have your headset on, you talk into your headset, it picks it up, the NPC reacts to what you're saying. There's ways you can incorporate AI into these games, which I think is right now is currently untapped. And now we're getting somebody from Instacart and Meta, especially somebody with an AI background. We might be able to start seeing a little bit more AI incorporated into the games.
Well, they're going to have to definitely take a step up because, Skyrim dominated. It did very well. Of course, in my opinion, they kind of oversaturated it, keep porting it out and whatnot. But it was a fantastic, phenomenal game. And, I'm a huge fan of it. Not everybody's a fan of it. Some people still like Oblivion and whatnot. But, Skyrim came out, hit the ground running, did very well. And that's what every developer wants to do. They want to create a game and make one better than the other one, right? And we haven't really seen a whole lot of that lately. Now, maybe by incorporating AI, this could be the advantage. This could be the ammunition they need in order to move forward with it.
I
And
think
I think some of these delays may have been, premeditated in some ways. Uh, with Phil Spencer leaving and everything, that could be a strong possibility because everything takes a lot of time.
the reaction to this has been largely negative,
Yeah.
especially because you attach the two letters AI to Asha's resume. Um, if I were sitting across the table from her right now and she asked me what it is that she needed to do, my first answer would be deliver. You have a year before you lose this, or before the fish gets off the hook,
Mhm.
so to speak. You
Right.
have to deliver, and I mean deliver, not just AAA games, but you have to deliver a better experience. You have to deliver a better product. You have to do something that's going to shake this whole thing up. It just can't be more of the same because, I mean, Phil could have done that. You have to really come forth. I think we go as far as possibly even a new console announcement. And I think one of the things that would really benefit her is if at some point during this next calendar year, before the holiday season 2026, if you come out with, or not come out with a new console, but preview the new console and say, folks, I saw the reactions, I don't agree with it. The new console is going to be 750 as opposed to $1,500. You just made yourself a hero and probably put Xboxes into the next generation of gamers' homes.
You brought up the console. I mean, that was one of the things that's being speculated too, is whether or not that, and we've talked about this before on our old show, was Xbox. It seems like they're at the time was leaning towards moving away from physical hardware itself, so the consoles and stuff like that, and moving towards more of a multi-platform game publisher only. And
Mhm.
so they just produce the games and then you go play it on PlayStation or PC. And I think you can also play some games. Can you get Game Pass on Nintendo now? Or is that still not available yet?
Oh, no, you're not putting anything on Nintendo that comes from PlayStation or Xbox.
Well, there was talk about putting about a year ago about putting Game Pass over allowing it to go over on Xbox or Nintendo. But now, does this, with her coming on board, does she speed this to speed it up, and that's the course they're still going to take? Or does she change course and be like, no, we need to get back to bringing quality back to the gamers?
I think you start with the games. That's the fastest way to kickstart this. You start with the games. You lean into the console. You devote all of your assets, um, to getting a proper the new generation console out. It could be 2027. It could be 2028 for all we know before that new console hits the ground. But you've got to get something out there right now, um, before the gaming community flips on you, because you don't unflip that switch. You were talking about the Xbox going multi-platform with a lot of their games. That's kind of the standard that's been set now, and that leads to a bigger question: is it her pushing the buttons, or is it Satya Nadella, the chairman of Microsoft? The whole inclusion of AI in the games. I think it could be beneficial, specifically with the things that you were talking about, Matilda, about more direct communication between the player and the game itself as an entity. I wonder if Microsoft has not spent all this time ramping up the last year and a half to 18 months, or year and a half to 2 years, putting all of this money and all this effort into AI and saying, damn it, you're going to put it in everything that's got a Microsoft tag on it, including the Xbox. And maybe Phil and Sarah were reluctant to do that. And that's why they were shown the door.
Well, I know with like the big thing with AI and like going into media in terms of like movies and TV shows and even gaming, the biggest fear a lot of people have, and this is in the Hollywood side, they're afraid with the way AI is going. Granted, what a lot of people don't understand, the AI that you see that you have access, an everyday person has access to, is probably what was developed 5 years ago. So in that 5 years from then until now, they're so far advanced. Right now, there's an AI that you can go through and you could go develop a game that you can play for about 1 minute. Granted, all you're able to do is move and jump. That's about it. In some games, you can't even jump. So it's not like it's a full-fledged game just yet. But a lot of people are afraid that the way AI is going, especially like in movies, there's already talk that they may end up what actors and actresses may end up doing was instead of acting anymore, they sign over their digital rights and make money, and then people go, say you get a subscription service to, let's say, Disney Plus Plus, and you go type in what you want to see. So I want to see a Chris Pratt movie, him playing Superman, fighting Batman, and then it'll go generate a full-length movie for you to watch. And that is within probably the next 10 years. And I know right now there's some AI, more advanced AI that a lot of people don't have access to as of right now, that are already making 20, 30-minute long videos by just off of that type of content. And maybe you're right that Xbox wants to incorporate it more, and hopefully it's more in a way that's beneficial to gamers to make the gaming experience more enjoyable. Like I mentioned before, it's like going up to an NPC and you got your headset on, you could talk to the NPC now, and the NPC responds based on what you say to it, or the environment reacts to what you're saying. Because I mean, we already got a game now that's, I think it's on PC, maybe it's on PlayStation or Xbox, but it uses the sounds you put with your mic. So if they got background noise in you picks up background noise, the monster is going to hear you based off what it picks up in your mic and is attracted to you. So there's already that kind of stuff out there. And I know there's an old NASCAR game where you used to be able to talk into the headset, talk to your crew chief, but it was all you had certain lines you had to say in certain script. And even on a couple of the F1 games, it's the same thing. You've got a certain script that you can say um, to your headset, to your engineer, and they would respond based on whatever question you were asked, but it had to be scripted the same way. So it's not like I could go and just ask it a random question. It's like, how's the weather today? And then it'll be like, well, today's shop, we have spears on sale for 3 gold, but it'll actually tell you what the in-game weather is versus whatever pre-script it has. So there is opportunity there, but also too, it's like, how much is it going to go away from the creators itself? But you also think of it too, and just look at movies in general. The creativity on movies has gone away. So, because we're to the point now, we're rebooting movies and rebooting them, carrying them on, bringing them back from the dead, because everybody's running out of ideas.
And then that leads to another question: where does all of this go? I mean, are we really ready to turn over the gaming universe to AI and remove the creativity from human hands? I don't think there's a machine that can do what Picasso did. I don't think there will ever be one. I don't think there's a machine that can do what Shakespeare did. There's a certain level of this that humanity, in terms of creativity, will always be greater than anything a machine can do. For the sake of profit, because eventually this all goes back to profit. It always goes back to the shareholders, because that's what's wrong with Hollywood. Is Hollywood, because they need to make money. These are all owned by corporations now. The corporations don't care what kind of movie you put out, as long as it makes money. And I hope we haven't reached a point with Microsoft, and possibly sooner or later with Sony, that they don't care about what the content is as long as it makes money.
Well, because I'm actually pretty interested in what you guys have found out and been reading up about and everything, and I'm kind of interested in just knowing what your guys' thought process on it. I know for one thing, I don't want a repeat of the Xbox One release debacle. especially when it comes out with the new console, especially when it comes out with the AI and everything, because I'm going to tell you something right now. I want control of my own games in my own console. And I think to this day, when they released the Xbox One, that really put a tarnish into the name right there. And so they're still trying to pick up the pieces after that, right?
Yep.
And as far as video games go, as far as the content goes and everything, I really think that obviously humans should be playing a big role in video games and creating, because that's where the artistic comes from. We created AI. In a way, that is kind of art, right? But we create content, we create video games from imaginations, and I agree with what you say, Matilda, as far as like we're rehashing movies, right? We're remaking movies and everything like that. I think this is also going to be, and they can hear me out on this and everything. Some people may agree or not agree with me on this, but let's talk about the modders of the video games. This could be an opportunity for the shine as well, incorporating it into games and everything. We want to see those kind of things. And as far as stories go when it comes to games, there are a lot of good stories out there. And there's mutual friends of ours, especially one up in Australia right now, who reads some of the most amazing stories that he tells me about. And I was like, why isn't this a movie? Why isn't this a video game? This is what people want. This is what people want to see. So I'm open for a fresh take on the video game platform, on whether it be Xbox, PlayStation, even Nintendo, or even any new generation that comes out. For all we know, we may even get a new console generation out, a new company, right? And I'm going to be positive about this one. I'm going to stay positive on it until I see things start to flourish more about it, and because I really want to see a movement in video games where, and especially with a company who's going to focus in on the fans themselves, the ones that made this happen, the ones that brought this out, right? So I'm going to I'm going to stay positive about it until, for the time being and everything, because I'm really interested in seeing where this is going to go. And I do agree with you, Bigness, that you need to hit the ground running, okay? Because when this happens and everything, you're filling in big shoes, Phil, in big shoes, right? So that's really what my take on it right now and everything. I'm an Xbox lover. I love playing Xbox. I love playing PlayStation, Nintendo. But I still want to see Xbox stay around for a long period of time. And if they're going to be the pioneers that starts this whole thing and pushes it off and everything, then so be it. So be it.
I got a question for the two of you, and I'm doing a little bit quick research. I know Sir Bigness mentioned they've got a year, and but at what point within that year do people start questioning whether or not this was a good move or not?
I think after the
Uh,
first year.
Well, in today's world, though, we're all about we want results now, and a lot of us are not patient for that want to wait a year. I mean, but
Yeah.
as like us three, we dig into this. We're digging into a little bit of the behind the scenes stuff now, and kind of talking about the biggest news stories in gaming or pop culture. And I'm looking to see to find out if Xbox got any shows coming up. Actually, they've got a game developers conference March 11th through the 12th coming up. Let's see, State of the Union 2026 is March 11th. So yeah, we've got some stuff coming up, and hopefully, maybe even the March 11th, the big show around the 11th. If maybe we'll hear something positive, and to really like get people, because yeah, the shakeup may be a good thing, but until you can get people to buy into it, we're all left kind of speculating why was this shakeup needed, and or was this a good thing at this time? And now we've got different direction, and maybe her and Asha and Matt coming in and bringing new, fresh ideas. Maybe we could see some concept ideas, some projects, stuff that they want to bring in as early as the March show. But between now and
22nd.
Today is the 22nd. It is Sunday, the 22nd, 2026. Planet Earth.
so 23rd, let's just say February 24th, 2027. As gamers, are we going to wait, give them, her and him that long, or are we going to become impatient before this, especially if we're not seeing something in 6 months?
I think this actually, as far as Asha and Matt are concerned, this could have happened at a better time. The reason why I say that is most of the gaming world is waiting on September, October, November, whatever that is, when GTA 6 comes out. And when that drops, you've got another 6 months on top of that before anybody picks their head up and starts going, hey, what else is going on around out here? You've got Resident Evil that's coming out. I mean, I think as far as gaming announcements, Resident Evil comes out in a couple weeks. You've got the summer games coming out. I think Horizon 6 is the next major Microsoft release. Get that out, get that over the finish line, get that ready to go. You need to come out swinging with some big announcements, and you need to have those things on the ground May or June. And the disadvantageous thing about this is that Asha is new to the gaming industry. I mean, she was AI. She did, Instacart or whatever it is. Was it Instacart? One of those?
Yeah.
Okay. She's relatively new to gaming itself, so she has to learn the business first and then get into the creative aspects of it. And anybody that knows anything about gaming, it takes 2-3 years to actually construct fully fleshed out a game. And in some cases, GTA 6, it takes 16 years.
And I think that's why Matt Booty is going to be promoted there. I think he's going to be the one that's actually going to steer the ship to kind of lead her into that and kind of bring her out into the gaming industry and everything. Absolutely.
So I don't think gamers have this necessarily on a timeline, but I think they have really probably 3 to 5 months after the release of GTA before people just go, hey, you're screwing up over here at Microsoft. Well, where are the games that you promised? Where's the things that you promised? I think GTA is what, November release? If GTA is a November release, they need to announce the new console or at least 3 major titles. I'm talking about Elder Scrolls 6, Fallout 5, or a new Halo franchise, or Fable. Those things need to be on the ground or at least announced by the time you're talking May 2027. Otherwise, people are going to go, this ain't it. And you don't want people leaving your ecosystem at the end of a console cycle, because then you're about to ask them to pony up some more money for an experience they may not necessarily be fully bought into.
I agree with what you say about the timing. I think the timing is right because the state of play was just done just a few weeks ago and everything. And there's quite a big list that was just alone with PlayStation that's coming out. So they got plenty of games to ride on for 2026. 2027 is really how they're going to have to make their shine. Is really what's going to happen. That's my soapbox right there. So hopefully they got everything in the making. They're planning out. They're going to either come out with some new ideas, new IPs, or things that people have been wanting to see for a while. Hell, for all we know, aren't they going to be pulling out what's it, Mass Effect? Didn't they talk about like bolting it for a while? Maybe they'll bring that back out. There'll be a lot of for old school gamers like us that want that to come back out. And then there's going to be the new school gamers, right? They're gonna want something fresh, something fun, something to play, and also to kind of circle back about how they don't have patience or anything like that, especially the newer gamers. I get it; it's immediate gratification because technology has done that to a lot of us, including people. But patience is definitely going to be a virtue right here because this is going to really, I think, like I said, pioneer the direction of when it comes to video gaming and everything. And we're going to be a part of it one way or another, whether we like it or not.
Okay, so I have a question for the both of you. What could they do, Asha and Matt, for you to say, okay, this was a success? And I'm talking about the timeline between now and May 2027.
That's a good question. I mean, Well, I mean, like us and probably a lot of people, nobody's really thought about in a year's time what would be considered a success. I mean, outside of maybe like a Bethesda Elder Scrolls 6 or a new Fallout game. I mean, me being a racing fan, I would love for uh, Forza to go back to the old style and get away from uh, the Forza Motorsports that versions they got out now, make it more like it was with. It's very similar to Gran Turismo, Gran Turismo 7, which I recently purchased on PlayStation for sale.
Or how about take an old style and make it a new style, just like they did with Expedition 33 when it became a turn-based combat kind of game?
Yep.
But then they turned it around and just made it more fun to play. Maybe throw something like that. That's what I would think they would look at, kind of going back, but just making it better.
With the exception of Helldivers, the two biggest games over the last 2 years have been turn-based combat: Expedition 33 and Baldur's Gate 3.
Hmm.
So back to what you were saying, Matilda. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
But going back to what what Ninja was saying about bringing back an old mechanic, a gaming mechanic, tweaking it, updating it, and make it more enjoyable. Granted, I haven't played Expedition 33. I tried to do Baldur's Gate, but there's some I can't remember what it was. I think it was just a demo on PlayStation, so I didn't really get too much into it to really get a full-fledged aspect of it. But finding an old mechanic and then updating it could be kind of interesting. And I think that might be the way to go. But the question is what is a gaming mechanic that an older gaming mechanic that could be brought back?
The single player
idea-
game.
Yeah. The idea was to take games that really made you happy. If I'm going to be speaking my age here, it's like games that back in the day that made me happy to play, whether it be a side scroller or a platformer or whatever the case may be. That was the whole point in the video game industry, was to make a game and then make the next game better, right? Like they did it with like old school games like Mega Man and stuff like that. What else can we add to and everything just to make it better? Because I'm going to tell you something right now. If you take a whole entire game, a franchise, a AAA game, like let's take Halo, for example. I'm not a big Halo fan or anything like that, but there is a huge fan base for it. And if you're going to take that story and just go south with it and everything just because you want to bank on it being a better deal or whatnot, I mean, you're really treading thin waters right there. And that's just in my opinion right there. I like the fact, and I'm going to give a good example right here. The Coalition is working on a new game, which is called Gears of War E-Day. And a lot of things that I'm reading up about it is going back to the things that I wanted in the Gears of War that came out recently. They're going back to like war, they're going back to horror, they're going back to grittiness and everything, but they're going to make it better. So that's kind of like another example of taking an old mechanic and making it better. They didn't necessarily have to change the direction in that particular series. That's just my opinion and everything. But you're kind of like going back to your roots, but you're going to build back on that and you're going to make it better. And you're going to make it fun. You're going to make it interactive. And it's going to be something that you're going to be able to talk about with your friends.
I got something to add to that. What if we're like totally off on this? And this is just wishful thinking on my part. But what if she comes in and pulls all of the 80 plus developers, publishers studios they've got under their umbrella right now, and basically says, we're going to leave you alone. You come out and you bring the product. We're not going to tell you how to do it. You know what needs to be done, and you develop it, and you make it where the game, gamers are going to play for it. Because I think there is too much corporate influence on gaming now. I mean, granted, it's like we've talked about before on our previous show, was it's all about the shareholders. Well, yeah, your goal is you're trying to make money for the shareholders, but how do you make money for the shareholders? You've got to produce a product that people want to buy. If you give the ability back to the studios to produce a good quality product and give them the time to do it and not be hounding on them, Xbox could totally change gaming by just allowing it go back to the developers and let them develop games. Because most of those developers, I mean, if you see like all the shows where the gaming shows where they talk to people who are working on the project, and you always see them, they're always back there playing the games and testing them out as they go, so they know what they like and don't like. But how much is it? Yeah, we're being recorded playing the game. We got to put on a face, but I really don't like this game because the outside influence. If I was in charge, I'd do it this way. And maybe her approach, maybe let's give the power back to the studios to produce the games that players want to play, not what we want to see.
Going back on that, I like that idea, but I think that I feel like another tweak that needs to be made to that is not just, but they need to let the studio do what they do best. One of the reasons Arcane Studios closed is because they tried to make a live service game. They aren't adept at making live service games. Bethesda, I think one of the studios, they had Bethesda making some game that they don't make those games. The live service, the looter shooters, the kind of basically trying to recreate Fortnite. Because again, Fortnite is not a buy once, cry once type of game. It's you buy it, people you play it, you keep playing, you sell more skins, you do this, you sell this, you sell this. And that's what Madden and 2K and the other, constant recurring every 9 months another one's coming out type of games are. You buy it once, then they ask you to buy more stuff, and then you want to play Madden Ultimate Team and you want to play the My Team on 2K and just continue to purchase things and add to this one-time purchase. Not every game is designed to be that. If you put your money and your assets into the right products and have the right people make them, I mean, Bethesda's what? Bethesda was Fallout. It was BioWare, Mass Effect, those type of games. Long, drawn-out, character-driven games. You buy them once, but you play them and remember them forever. And so with those type of games, it's you buy it now, but you know that the next time that BioWare's dropping another game, you in that bad boy. They don't have to advertise it. They don't have to sell it. You know you're buying it. And the same thing and so on and so on and so on. And that's what built the success of those companies. And I think once you had Microsoft or Sony, once they acquired those studios, it was, hey, we need a live service game. Y'all aren't doing anything. Why don't y'all make us a live service game? That's not what they do. You got to let the car makers make cars, let the football players make football or play football. Do what you do and do that well.
Well, I was kind of like piggybacking off of what you were talking about as far as like bringing the freedom back to the developers and everything. I think that does need to come back because you could really tell the love in video games back in those days that they put into it, And I know I keep bringing up this franchise Gears of War and everything, but I've seen videos in the backgrounds and how they worked and how they get to play but time management does take precedence in some ways when you're trying to get a product out, and I understand that and everything, but there is got to be a balance there somewhere for them. And I think with the new games that are going to be coming out not only in 2026 but 2027, especially with Matt Booty and Sharma coming into the play right here. Like I said, they got to hit the ground running and everything, but they also got to bring back that passion because that's what it's really all about. It's about the games and everything. And I want control in my games. I want control in my console, and I want to enjoy it and have fun. And honestly, I really wanted to make sure that it really brings players back together again and play and have fun, and just one day just go back and talk about it because that's what it's really all about. So I'm going to embrace the future as best I can. I'm going to try to be as positive as best I can, and I'm really just going to bite the bullet and just see where this goes. So that's really all I got to say about the topic at hand. But I'm looking forward to more future content, especially with the Beers of War and the loading screen lounge and everything. So I'm looking forward to talking more about this and everything because there's going to be stuff that comes up. It's how you take it, it's how you perceive it, and it's how you want to live it. So, thank you.
You know, going forward, I think maybe this is something we put a pin in and we revisit this, say, May of 2027. God willing, we'll all be here and we can go, okay, it's been that time frame. What has she done? What has Microsoft done and where do we stand?
I mentioned a little bit ago about the gamer developer thing in March, the 11th and the 12th, around that time frame. I think that might be too early for any big announcements on her part. But Xbox has their Summer Game Fest on June 5th. I think that might be a telltale sign of what direction Xbox is going to be heading. I would put that as the first big hard date to see if we get an idea of what Xbox is planning for the future. And that'll tell us become May 2027 whether or not this change was a success.
I agree. It's a date.
Anybody got anything else they would like to add?
I would like to add that tonight I will be enjoying Eggo sipping cream.
What?
Maple flavored booze of some sort.
I think I got a bottle of that in my freezer right now.
There. What's that old saying? Lego my ego. You can keep it.
The maple cousin.
Which one are you gonna want to take us out tonight?
I got the Eggo sipping cream. I'll do it. Thank you all again for tuning in to the Loading Screen Lounge. It has been our pleasure to discuss this topic with you and figure out what the future of Xbox means after the great shakeup. So, from headquarters, from the control room, and from the library, if you drink, may you drink with me.